grab my gear, load the truck. Heading out, don't give a truck. Rifles locked, boots tied tight. Gonna catch that deer all through the night. Hunting in the Highland Hill, chasing dreams and catching thrills. The wind is howling, the game is near. In the woods, our favorite place, my dear. Hunting in the Highland Hill.
Hey guys, this is Davey T. I'm coming to you with a little bit of a special episode today. Well, not really a special episode. This is a little bit of kind of talk on the Rimfire. Now, over my last couple of weeks, I've been talking about the Rimfire because obviously when there's a lull in pest control, there's a vacuum when it comes to foxes, or when it comes to you're having a short period where you can't shoot deer past a certain time of night and things like that. It's a great time to get out with the small rifle and do a little bit of land management and clear up some rabbits. Now, a lot of people go, well, what harm do rabbits do? They don't hurt anybody. They don't hunt lambs or anything like that. Well, they do a heck of a lot of damage to the land. The rabbit warrens can account for a lot of agricultural damage when it comes to the ground, how things grow. The warrens, they make the ground unstable for animals and vehicles. They can cause quite a lot of crop damage as well. They'll eat away at people at the crop and things like that if there's too many. So rabbit control is an essential part of land management when it comes to agricultural, and even when it comes to woodland and forestry. They will nibble away at trees and plantations quite happily, and if there is too many rabbits, they will cause chaos. Likewise, deer and hare and various others. So it is still another part of land management. Now, one of the best tools for the job is the 22LR. But a lot of the things I'm going to talk about in regards to the 22LR today and the rimfires in general is that a lot of these things do apply to air rifles as well, because I'm going to talk about bullet drops. I'm going to talk about the benefits of this rimfire. I'm going to go into more depth, not just that little bit what I did when over my podcast last week. Thank you for tuning in. But I've had a few more requests to do a little bit more talk on and review on the rimfire. Now, the rimfire, my rimfires of choice at the minute is this is 22LR. This is a CZ455. It is a switch barrel. It means I can replace the barrel. You'll see many videos of me doing that. I can replace this barrel and make it into a 17 HMR, which I do quite regularly. It has a SAC mod on the end. Again, people have seen that. I'm not going to go into stripping this down and going into various specifics. Now, I've set this up with a Picatinny mount. This is actually a dovetail riser to Picatinny. Works absolutely fine. And on top, I've got the 3-12. Well, this is the Arkin Zulus, but it's the same DNT Zulus. So basically, this has got the upgraded DNT software in it, and it works fantastic, as you'll see in some of the clips. Now, I was out the other night doing a little bit of rabbiting and things like that while checking dens and stuff like that. The 22LR is far capable than a lot of people make it out to be. One of the benefits to the 22LR is that it is sound suppressed. If it's got even this 20-pound moderator on the end of it, it's practically silent. So when you're out and about and you're in the fields or you're working close to houses and things like that, there's no disturbance when it comes to this. In fact, your vehicle makes more noise. You're probably disturbing a lot more with lights and stuff like that, and just your presence being on the ground. And they wouldn't know you were shooting because you cannot hear this at all more than 100 yards away with a moderator on it. So it's an ideal tool for working at night. With the Zulus on top, I have the added benefit of having the laser rangefinder and the bullet drop compensator. And that's actually what I'm really going to talk about later on this episode, because in this video, because I'll show you some of the importance when it comes to the bullet drops and stuff like that. I'm not going to go into the Zulus itself. I'm going to say that the Zulus highlights some of the issues that you get when you are running these, because a lot of guys still run these with basic night vision, or they still run these with day scopes, and they're zeroing at 50 yards, but the problem lies is that they're still lacking in that holdover and windage calculations. And this, with it being a digital scope, I was able to take footage, and you will be able to see the kind of holdovers at those longer ranges. There's plenty footage of me doing the 40, 50, 60 yard shots, and I will add this to this video. However, that's just for entertainment purposes. The actual information gathering side of things, of what you want to know, especially if you're a novice in this, don't get me wrong, there's experts. I've got plenty used to using their 22 LRs at various ranges, and they are always spot on because they know their holdovers. But I'll just show you how much of a holdover that you need to do those longer ranges, and I mean in above 50 yards. We're not talking you're up to 50 yards. We're talking above 50 yards. Let's look at this shot here. It's an 87-yard shot. Again, with the 22LR, we are shooting. I've edited this so there's a bit of slow motion. As you can see, it's a very clean headshot. But look how much holdover there is. You're almost a whole rabbit holdover at 87 yards with the 22LR. Now, getting used to these kind of shots is kind of normal when you're working with a 22LR, but it just shows you the need for knowing your ranges, knowing what your abilities are, and what your holdovers are. So you're 80 to 100 yards where windage the wind becomes more prevalent and things get more difficult, and speed is a big thing in regards to the 22LR when it comes to subsonic. This one shoots RWS 40 grain bullets at around about 1033 FPS, which is just below the sound barrier. Not far below the sound barrier, but it's just below, so it makes it subsonic. Many other bullets don't shoot above the 1000 FPS. I have seen tests on these rimfires shooting between 900 and 950, and I've even seen some match ammo being as low as 800. So knowing your speeds on this is hugely important, and that is a big thing when it comes to understanding using these for longer ranges for rabbit control. And yes, there is times where you need those longer ranges, but get to know your rifle, get to know your setup. And the Zulus, with the video, being able to take video and showing the ballistic drops and various other bits, I'm able to highlight this a lot better. Instead of me just explaining a video, you will actually visually see it. I've edited some of the videos to show you that you can see the holdover. You can see it in slow motion. I've got a couple of shots in there when I'm missing, and you can see why I've missed, and that's just a fraction off because of movement in the rabbit and the time between me pulling the trigger and it reaching the target. As you see there, that was a clear miss. 132 yards with the 22LR is pushing its legs a little bit. But let's analyse the shot, because lots of people probably wonder, they've probably come across shots like this and wonder what changes. Now, at that range and the speed of those bullets, a lot can change in just a fraction of a second of pulling that trigger. Watch and you'll see what I mean. I'm lined up perfect on the rabbit. I've got a real steady shot. As you can see that, no movement on the reticle whatsoever. And just as I took the shot, the rabbit looks up and to the right. The bullet drop is just over the rabbit's head and just below the reticle there. And that highlights another part of the rimfire when you're shooting out to range. You will see that backstop is important, because you'll see the bullet going straight through and then just kicking out the back. And that just shows you that backstop, even though these are low velocity, these are heavy bullets, 40 grain is heavy, they do not separate or expand the same as centre fire bullets or many centre fire bullets. So backstop is important, and you do get the problem with these 22LRs is that with a heavy bullet, low speed, you will get them skipping across hard ground. So it's important that you are safe at all times with the 22. So the pros of the 22. First of all, cost. This is a low-cost way of getting into the hunting business. I said this in my podcast, and I'll elaborate more. The average price of a 22LR can be anything from £250 second hand to £500 brand new. The most popular brands are Tikka. They've got the T1, CZ, which have got various models out now. This is the 455. I think there's a 457 is the next one up. And then you've got the 452. I've got a 452 and 22LR as well. CZ, as the Americans call it, or CZ, they are probably the most popular. You get Bruno, you get semi-automatic. The versatility of these is unbelievable, because you can still legally have a semi-automatic one of these, so which is ideal if you're doing hundreds and hundreds of rabbits all the time. I used to have a Bruno, it was an Anschutz semi-automatic, and I thought it was fantastic, but I sold that and got my CZ. The 22LR is very versatile. The cartridge has been around since 1890s, and it's probably the oldest, most viable cartridge that is still in use today. This is probably one of the most regular cartridges that you will find in use. Every brand makes them. Almost every brand of firearms makes a 22LR. Almost every brand of ammunition makes 22LR ammunition, and it's reliable. The 22LR as a rimfire is quiet, can be used in urban areas as long as you're being safe, and it can be used in out in the field. It copes with the wind rather well, unlike the 17 HMR, which was developed in the 1990s by Hornady. That 17 grain bullet is very susceptible to wind, even at zero ranges, so 100 yards, where if you've got heavy wind and stuff like that, you can still shoot out to 50 yards with the 22LR quite easy, and it's very capable. The other benefit the 22LR, it is no recoil, almost no recoil whatsoever. So it allows you to be able to practice being able to move with the rifle, being able to take shots and being steady. You'll see some of the longer shots that I've got is almost rock solid steady. Other shots are a little bit wavy and things like that. It's very forgiving as a rifle. It does forgive user error quite a lot. Easy to maintain, barely need any cleaning whatsoever. In fact, there's an old saying, do not clean your rimfire. I only clean it once or twice a year, and it's easy, very easy to maintain. Just clean it when the accuracy level is coming down. You can fit these with rails. Most rimfires will take a rail. Some rimfires, when you purchase them, you can purchase that are already got factory rails on them. ideal for fitting all sorts of night vision, even the stuff that is designed for ARs and things like that, because of the no recoil or low recoil. Pretty much anybody can shoot a 22LR. Obviously, legal restrictions require you to be over the age of 14 because it is a firearm. You do need a firearms license for this, and you do need permission for land or a club. There's plenty small bore clubs out there, and as I said on my podcast, there's huge amounts of competitions that are just for the 22LR, and they're quite exciting. The reason why they're quite exciting because the low speed and low cost means that the accuracy of these out to longer ranges really does test the marksman, especially with day scopes, because you're not allowed to use these scopes in competition. The other good thing about the 22LR is it is powerful enough to take the likes of foxes. So if you're out rabbiting and you come across a fox at 100 yards and you're able to get within 50 to 100 yards with it, these are very capable of being able to take down that fox. I would not suggest to go beyond that 100-yard mark. I have shot a fox with the 22LR at 117 yards. That's the maximum I've done that. And that it went down with no issue. Now, the reason why I did it at 117, I actually thought it was a lot closer than what I really was. I thought it was around about 90 yards, but when I actually measured it, it was 117. And that is where the downside of this comes into. With the low power, the bigger grain bullet, you really need to know your distances. There's a lot more movement in the bullet between you and your target as in regards to drop. And it's very difficult at night to know your distances if you don't have a device like this or you don't know your ground very well. So for those novices out there, knowing your capabilities with the 22LR is a big thing. Now, there is other rimfires out there that are far more capable of those longer distances, such as the 17HMR. The 17HMR, you 0 to 100 yards, and it will give you straight flat shooting from 0 to 100 yards. Your drops are a little bit more dramatic as you get to the 120, 130 marks. Beyond the 130 yard mark, that's when you'll start seeing significant drop with the 17HMR. However, it is pretty flat right out to that 120, 130 with minimal drop. The problem lies is that with the 17HMR over the 22LR is that you're using a 17 or a 20 grain bullet. Now, the wind, as the further you go out, even at 100 yards, as the further you go out, the more impact that wind will have on your 17 smaller grain bullet. And the velocity doesn't completely help with that fact either, because it makes the bullet a little bit unstable as it goes further away from the muzzle. So, yes, you get higher capabilities at longer range in calmer weather, and if you stay in an area where there's never much wind, perfect, absolute perfect 17HMR over 22LR every day. However, the good point about the 22LR over the 17HMR is the damage is minimum on your rabbits. So if you want to eat your rabbits, you want to sell them to the game dealer or whatever, head shooting with the 22LR is a no-brainer. If you don't want to shoot, don't want to sell your rabbits, don't want to eat your rabbits, or don't want to do anything with your rabbits, in the 17HMR is fine, because the impact on the 17HMR is far more devastating than a 22LR. They both kill, they both kill humanely, but as the 17HMR is designed to expand as an expanding bullet, it will expand to the point where it'll do explosive damage, and it won't just kill your animal, it'll, in many cases, it'll render it unusable. So, however, with the 17HMR, it's far better for doing fox control in those urban areas and things like that, for getting that little bit of distance. It is quicker, it's louder, and and it has its problems with wind. So the 22LR is usually the stable to go to for doing rabbit control especially, and the odd bit of fox control. I love shooting the 22LR. It is by far, out of all the calibers that I shoot, it is by far my favourite caliber to shoot. I get a lot of fun out of it. The ammunition is cheap, it's inexpensive. I do have issues with it. I had to change the stock, for instance, on this. This is not, the stock doesn't come standard. This is a left-hand Boyd stock with right-hand action inlet, so I can use a right-handed rifle, left-handed. Really unusual to come across a stock like this. It's the only rifle I do have that has this, so it makes it comfortable for me. But the versatility of the 22LR allows me to have that kind of freedom with it. I'm able to plink and learn. It is a good training rifle. So if I am shooting out to distance, or I'm aiming for targets, or even want to practice PRS, working off barriers and stuff like that, this allows me to train for that. The low recoil, or no recoil, I say, because it doesn't feel like there's any recoil, makes it easier to do like what people would call trick shots, for instance. So when you're plinking, you can sit there and shoot matchsticks and stuff like that. And target acquisition, perfect for when you're out in the field doing bunnies. The target acquisition is phenomenal. You can go for it if you've got a group of rabbits in one area. You could probably shoot maybe 4 or 5 out of 10 before they realise that you are shooting at them. You can get multiple targets in a row, so your target acquisition is better. This one is CZ455, and that comes with a 5-shot magazine as standard, but with CZ you can get 10 shots, 20 round mags and stuff like that for them. I've got a couple of 10 round mags. I don't really like them because I prefer the small 5 round mag. It's lower profile, doesn't stick out the stock too much, and it doesn't catch on things when you're leaning off like the window of a car or off the bonnet of the car. It doesn't scratch and break or whatever. But that's an each to your own type of thing. Some people prefer the 10 shot and the versatility of the 10 shot because it means that you're not reloading all the time. But yeah, it's a cheap way of getting into hunting, and rabbiting is fun. And it's not just fun, it's good to control the numbers. As everybody knows, they've heard the saying, breed like rabbits. They breed very quickly. There's an abundance in many areas. Yes, I know, and I will highlight the fact that in some areas people haven't seen a rabbit for a long time. But the tool for the job for controlling them, if you do have a problem with rabbits, because if you do have some, it won't take long for them to come out of control, is the 22LR. I'm going to discuss in regards to some of the footage, and you can see just as the rabbit moved its head. There's another footage that I will highlight in this as well, where you will think initially that you have hit, you've missed that rabbit when you've actually hit it and killed it. But the problem lies is because if you're shooting out to those ranges and the low velocity of this of the 22LR, sometimes your reaction to the shot from your quarry is a little bit delayed. So it's not that you haven't done a humane shot, it is that you have, there's just a delay because of the speed that it's hit that rabbit or whatever you're shooting at. So just bear that in mind. You do get runners. You will get the odd rabbit that will run on with a 22LR at over 100 yards, mainly because it's a 40 grain bullet is not expanding, and it is a kill shot, but it might just run on that little bit. So you have to bear that in mind. A prime example of this is this shot here, 108 yards. At first initial reaction to that shot, you would think, oh, he's missed it. But I tracked it just that 2 or 3 yards and realised it's a clear headshot. Now, I decided to have a look at this clip a little bit more closely to see what actually happened. And as I said, it's down to that delayed reaction. Every rabbit reacts differently, as many folk who shoots out rabbits. Now watch in the slow motion where I take the shot. As you see, it is a clear upper neck headshot. The reaction is slow. Remember this clip before. This is the 132-yard shot that we highlighted earlier in the video. Now, this just shows you the time delay in regards to the miss that I made. Now, I'm aiming, I had a steady shot on the back of the head, and it literally, the rabbit, that time between me squeezing the trigger and me and the bullet arriving at its target, the rabbit just moves that fraction of a second. As you see, I'm right between the ears. Very stable shot. Took the shot, my brain squeezing the trigger, rabbit moving. I ended up missing the shot. Hope you enjoy the footage, and I will come back to you after that. I hope you enjoyed that footage, because I did work hard on it. I did do individual edits and stuff. You'll see some of the close range shots. You'll see, if you look closely in some of the slow motion ones, you'll see the bullet trajectories and things like that, which is great. I think that night when I was out, I took about 30 or 40 rabbits, 35 rabbits, I think it was. I can't remember. It was a couple of nights ago, and I've been busy ever since. Thank you again for watching another one of my videos. Check out the 22LR if you want to get into shooting rabbits and stuff like that. Fantastic caliber, fantastic rifle, as I explained before. You won't be disappointed, and it opens your door to learning how to use firearms safely, how to use them efficiently, and genuinely having fun. Having fun and being safe is the most important part. Anyway, thank you for watching another Field Sports Scotland. I'll catch you on my podcast this week. I am hoping that I've got an interview to do, and hopefully I've got a guest this week for you. I'm not revealing anything yet, because the fact of the matter is not guaranteed. However, talking about rimfires, I have cleared it with our McLeods in Tainham. We're going to set up one of the Bagaras to do a little bit of a field test on it, which is going to be great. So I think it's 17 HMR we're going to play with. That'll, as we're coming to the end of summer, I think ideal for any of you guys that are out there who are interested in getting yourself a new 17 HMR. But until then, happy hunting, stay safe, and I'll catch you in a little bit.